Hey you guys, it's Heather here. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button so you're not missing out on any of my videos. Today I wanted to continue down our road through the baby steps. Today we're going to be talking about baby step 2 of the book Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. In my previous video on baby step 1, I shared a little bit about my journey and how I found the Total Money Makeover and why debt freedom was so important to me and what you really need to do and what you really need to know to be successful on your debt-free journey. I started my debt-free journey in 2012 and I finished in 2014. It took me just under 2 years to get out of debt. There were definitely months where I was more intense. There were definitely a series of months where I was feeling a little bit burnt out, and I went a little bit more relaxed on tackling my debt. And I also started with a scarcity mentality when I first started my baby steps. I came from a position where I really wasn't making very much money, and for my debt ratio to income ratio, I had a ton. Now for me, a ton of debt was, I can't exactly remember, but between $18,000 to $19,000, and that's about how much I was making a year, especially when I first got out of massage school. My debt-free journey started about a year after I was finished with massage school. I was working 2 part-time jobs, one at a day spa, one at a clinic, and then I was also really focusing on building my private massage practice, which was kind of slow in the beginning, but then it did definitely pick up after about 2 years. And during this debt-free journey, it really helped me figure out what I wanted most out of life and how I wanted to be spending my time and the type of people I wanted to be helping. And I got to a point where I started looking at how much work I was doing and how many people I was massaging and breaking that down to, I have to massage 5 people to pay this bill. Or I would take my debt and I would divide it based on how many massage appointments I would have to do. And that would be like my breakdown. And I would always constantly remind myself, you're getting out of debt so that you can either work less or create a niche practice to really help and serve the people that you want, so you don't have to take on just anybody to pay your bills. And in the beginning, that is what really drove me to start paying my debt off. How do you even get started with baby step 2? So first off, I'm gonna say I never went through Financial Peace University. The only thing I did during this debt-free journey was I read the Total Money Makeover. I actually have the book. Well, I gave it to my cousin. I don't have the book anymore. But I purchased the physical book off of Amazon, and then I listened to his podcast daily for motivation. If you're not aware, Dave Ramsey has his own podcast called The Dave Ramsey Show, and Monday through Friday he does 3 one-hour segments. So if you want to completely like immerse yourself into debt freedom and feel inspired on a really regular basis to help keep you accountable, I highly recommend listening to his podcast. It's basically just people calling him up and asking him questions related to whatever baby step they're on in their debt-free journey. Some people ask dumb questions. Some people actually call Dave Ramsey and ask him if it's okay for them to go into debt for like school or a car. He always answers nicely, but he's very real about it. And I really love the way that he will show people the current scenario that they're in and offer them so many other tips and ways that they can get around that without going into debt. He also does Dave rants. So if there's a topic that is like really on his heart or he's super annoyed with, I love hearing his perspective of like that crazy redneck guy from Tennessee, and it's just really entertaining, at least to me. So the book and the podcast were the only 2 things that I did. I never went through Financial Peace University. I'm sure it's a great program, but it was just something that for myself, I didn't need that type of accountability. Now, since you're done with baby step 1, saving $1,000 into your emergency fund, your next step is baby step 2, and that is calculating all of your debt. This can seem extremely overwhelming, And some people don't know how much debt they have or who they owe, like for instance your student loans. If you are within that 6-month period of just graduating and your loan's not coming to being needed to be repaid, you may not know exactly what your total is or who you even owe. So you can actually pull your credit report, and your credit report will show you who you owe and what the current balance is from the last 30 days. So then you can contact that company, request a statement, and get all the information you need on how to start repaying that debt. The first thing you do in baby step 2, after you have figured out everyone that you owe money to, and Dave talks about this a lot in his book Total Money Makeover, so I'm not going to go in too much detail with it of why you should be doing it in this way, but you want to take all of your debts and you want to list them to the smallest debt owed all the way down to the largest debt owed. So you're tackling the little ones first, and that will actually really help give you confidence and give you momentum, and you're really gonna feel like you're putting a big debt into your debt. By tackling the smallest one first, you're getting rid of a lot of really small monthly payments that you've been having to pay every month. And honestly, after I saved my $1,000, it only took me a month to do baby step 1. After I got through baby step 2, I think I knocked off like 3 debts off on that second month, and I was just like, holy crap, I am making huge progress here. I'm killing it. This is awesome. And I was able to get rid of debts that were a couple $100s, but really freed up probably about $100 a month for myself in just minimum payments alone. So each debt that you end up paying off, you can basically take that minimum payment that you're paying off and then snowball that onto the next debt that you owe. The next thing that you need to do, regardless of you're starting this in baby step 2 or baby step 1, is you need to have a budget. You need to know how much you're bringing in and how much is going out. You can do a budget regardless if you are getting a W-2 from your employer or if you're self-employed. If you're self-employed, you have a base that comes in every month. You have an amount that you know that you're gonna make this month. If you're self-employed and you're not living on a budget right now, you know how much money is coming in every month, whether that's $1,000, $2,000. There's a minimum there that you know you can depend on. And even if you're not budgeting now, you're obviously still making it, right? Like, you know there's money coming in. You just need to sit down and figure out what the minimum is every month that you can bring in. And then if you have other months that's like a huge excess, that's awesome. For myself, as being self-employed, the extra money that I had left over every month that I could throw towards my debt was different. And I'm gonna say I did a $1,000 emergency fund in my business savings to cover, that would cover me 2 months of rent and expenses in my office. And then I had another $1,000 emergency fund just for personal. So technically my emergency fund was $2,000, one for the business side, one for the personal side, because if shit happened in my business and in my personal life in the same month, I was gonna be screwed. Well, after you have listed your debts smallest to largest, you're basically just going down that list and crossing off each debt. In the beginning, you're gonna feel a lot of momentum, but towards the end, when you get down to the larger debts, it might take you 2, 3, 4, 5 months, maybe longer, to pay off the debts when they are the largest. And for me personally, that was my student loans. I had a lot of small debts that were credit cards. I had one large debt that was a credit card, maybe at like $2,000, that was a business credit card, which I own my business, so obviously I own the debt there. Don't ever let anyone tell you that business debt is different from personal debt, because guess what? You still have to pay it. And then after that large credit card bill, I had a student loan that was around $2,000, and then my largest student loan was just barely above $3,000. And that's kind of where, for me personally, it started to get hard, where like the numbers weren't really moving as fast as I wanted to. It did give me motivation to like get a little bit more intense and work a little bit more and really tailor down my lifestyle so that maybe 1 month, you know, on average I can do $1,000 towards debt, but maybe for that month I could take on a few extra appointments, cut the budget a little bit more to like squeeze that into like maybe $1,500 that month. So for me, it was really, I treated it like a game. And I think that that's a really fun way to strategize, to like keep yourself motivated to pay off debt. Another thing that I did when I felt like I was getting really burnt out was I did budget one vacation during that 2 years, and it was a really nice mental break that I needed. It did end up pushing me back by about $800, so you know, I could have been debt-free like 3 weeks prior to when I was actually debt-free in early October of 2014. But honestly, sometimes you need to take a mental break from being gazelle. For me at that point, 1.5 years. And I probably took like 3 months off of being super gazelle intense with my debt just to like live a little bit. And there were some instances where like some of my clothes were like getting so old that like there were some holes, like especially in my leggings, and I'm just like, I need new shoes for the gym. Like there are a few months where I'm like, my stuff is starting to wear after not replacing it for 1 year, 1.5 years. It's kind of time to invest some money back into myself, into my own personal life to make me feel good. So there were definitely some months where, you know, I wasn't able to budget as strictly as other months, but that's okay. And I feel like you learn a lot about yourself during baby step 2 when it comes to paying your debt off and tailoring your lifestyle down to some months only the bare minimum that you need, and other months, you know, maybe you're allowing yourself 100 or 200 or, you know, whatever ends up being dollars a month to treat yourself a little bit, or if there's something that needs to be replaced, that's okay. You really find out during this process what you're able to live without and what in life just ends up actually being fluff. During baby step 2, you are going to go through a ton of personal growth. Some of it is going to be great. Some of it is going to feel excruciating in the moment. You're going to have to say no to a lot of things. We did say no to a lot of weekends going out with friends to dinner, because honestly, dinner for 2 people can end up being $40 to $50. And at that point, my husband and I we were not married, we were not engaged yet, but he was so supportive of me getting out of debt, and he was all on board. And I told him, you know, if there's something that you want to do and I can't afford it, you might have to shell out the money for both of us. So I'm just putting that expectation out there right now. Honestly, for him, within our relationship, he is the natural saver. So I actually think that he was a little bit relieved that I was on this debt-free journey, because it definitely decreased the expectations that I had of the things that we should be doing. I'd love to know if you are on your current total money makeover. Are you on baby step 2 right now, just getting started? Are you on baby step 3, 4, 5, and 6? Maybe you're completely debt-free and on baby step 7. Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if you have any questions regarding the baby steps, and I look forward to you joining me on the next video of this series, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!